All right, it's 1:30. Thank you for coming for this session where I will be sharing with all of you some details about the mathematics program here in the Faculty of Science. Not sure how many of you attended my earlier talk in the morning where I was explaining to you about course registration. So that was me speaking on behalf of the faculty. And now in the afternoon, I'm here to tell you more about my department, specifically the mathematics major that all of you are currently perhaps considering. Let me share with you some of the important information about that you may need to take note of as you prepare for your first academic year here in NUS, specifically in the Department of Mathematics, if you choose to major in math. Okay, so I will start now. Okay, a lot of the information that I am sharing are actually found at our department webpage. So if you do a quick search, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to come across our department's homepage. And specifically for you as our incoming undergraduates, as you navigate to our homepage, you should focus on the undergraduates drop-down menu as I've shown you here. And specifically, if you want to look for the curriculum information, all right, things I'm sharing with you in a short while, drop down the undergraduates menu and look for major and minor programs, in particular under primary majors. Okay, now there are other types of information available. In particular, you have the double degrees with our computer science, right? So what are some of the key curriculum information as well? If you are keen to find out more about our special program in mathematics, or if you have questions and you would like to get in touch with one of our undergraduate advisors, if you click on the correct link, it will bring you to the information site, and you can from there take it the next step, which is to start writing to us, or you can find out the answers to the questions that you have. I will now start with a brief overview on our math majors program requirements. Okay, so in the slides that follow, you will notice that on the left-hand top corner, all right, it is a way to tell you how to navigate to the relevant web page and subpages that contains the information that I'm sharing with you now. Okay, so the program requirement for the math major, as it is with all the different majors here in the Faculty of Science, a major program requirement consists of 15 courses, 15, okay, 15 courses or 60 academic units, all right, at least 60 academic units. Some of the courses can be more than 4 units, but generally speaking, 15 courses and 60 academic units. Out of the 15 courses, 8 are compulsory or what we call essential, and these are the 8 essential courses. All right, starting from the level 1000, MA 1100, this is our major gateway course. So if you have attended my talk this morning, you know that the gateway course, whichever is your declared major, will be pre-allocated to you as long as you make that declaration in the system before 17th July. Okay, so this is the first course that will count towards the major requirement for mathematics, and it will give you a good idea of what a math major is about, right? What a math major is about, and the kind of similarities and differences between doing math in university as opposed to math that you have done all the way up to high school and your junior colleges. Okay, now the other 7 courses are also compulsory, and they range from the foundational topics like calculus, algebra, and analysis. There's also a course in probability. And in your senior year, you will be doing what we call a mathematics capstone project with the course code MA4198. This is also a compulsory requirement before you can graduate with a math degree. So 15, right? 15 courses altogether, 8 are compulsory. The other 7, well, I'll talk about the other 7 later on. So the advice that we have for our students coming in to major in math would be, you should try to do the first 2, which is math, basic discrete math, the gateway, as well as the first course in calculus by the end of your first year. And then the other 4 MA level 2000 courses by year 2. All right, so those would be your linear algebra, multivariable calculus, and analysis. And then for the last capstone course, capstone project, in order to qualify to start reading that, you would need to have completed at least 10 MA courses by then, and at least 2 of which are level 3000 and above. Okay, so the whole idea here is that you must have attained some level of mathematical maturity before you embark on this capstone project. Okay, now these are just recommendations. For example, if some student would like to do linear algebra part 1, which is MA 201 in their year 1, as early as semester 1 or even in semester 2, they are more than welcome to do so. Okay, so what about the other 7, right? 15 courses in total, 8 compulsory. That means the other 7 are what we call electives. So if you wish to just complete a math major requirement without going further to specialize in one of our 2 specializations, the other 7 courses is free for you to choose as long as they are level 2000 and above. However, note the requirement that out of the 7, at most 2 can be from level 2. You cannot take too many level 2000 courses, which means you must have at least 5 of the 7 that are level 3000 and above. Okay, now all these level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 are meant to indicate some sort of a progression, or maybe you can think of it as level of difficulty. Okay, but of course, as you gain and progress in maturity in doing math, all right, of course, you will be expected to tackle or to take on tougher modules and tougher courses as well. On the other hand, if you wish to pursue a specialization in math, so besides fulfilling the 7 courses, like I have said earlier, shown on the left-hand side, the additional 5 courses has to be taken by the time you graduate. And these 5 courses has to be chosen from a 2 separate list, depending what is your chosen specialization. Is it in pure math, or what we call the PM specialization, or the ORDA specialization, or Operations Research Data Analytics? Okay, now I'm putting an asterisk here on ORDA because this particular specialization is currently under revamp and will be formalized once it has been approved by the ministry. Okay, so once it has been approved, then we will have 2 specializations, and for each of them, a list of elective courses that you can choose from to fulfill this 5 additional course requirement. Okay. Now, the department provides sample plans, sample study plans. All right, and this slide and the next one gives you an idea of how you perhaps can plan your studies. All right, in your 4 years, and you can see here that these are just recommendations. It gives you some idea of how you can design your study pattern or study path, so that by the end of your year 4, semester 2, you would have completed all the major requirement and the graduation requirement. So remember, like for example, those that you see here in green, these are our common curriculum courses, the yellow ones as well. Okay, including your interdisciplinary courses that students typically do in their 3rd year of studies, factoring in all the major requirements, right, doing them in Sem 1, Sem 2 of year 1, year 2, and so on and so forth. And the rest of those gray color boxes are your unrestricted electives that you can choose to put in whatever you want. However, if you want to use those unrestricted elective spaces to pursue a specialization in math, so you'll see that in this case, you will be using some of those gray boxes, all right, to put in the additional 5 level 4000 and above specialization courses. And once that is done, by the time you graduate, you will be graduating with a degree in mathematics with a specialization in either pure mathematics or operations research data analytics. Okay. Okay, at the specified website that I have shown you, remember you can always navigate to the website following this instructions over here on the top left corner. We have also provided you with study plans if you are majoring in math, but combining it with some other kind of second majors or minors and so on and so forth. Okay, so I will not go into details. It's for you to take a look. And remember, all these study plans are for your reference. Okay, they do not mean that it has to be followed strictly. But however, something that I want to touch on later on as well, the reason why those study plans exist is that it provides some sort of a natural progression of which course comes before which one. Okay, because you see in the NUS course system, there are certain courses that requires prerequisites, all right, that you must have passed first before you can read the next one. All right, prerequisites are essentially courses that contains knowledge or information that you must have acquired before you can take on a higher level course. So that's why in the study plan, we have taken into consideration of the sequencing, which one comes first, as well as more importantly, sometimes some courses are offered in one semester and not in the other one. So this would also have to be factored into consideration when you come up with a study plan. Okay, so but regardless, the plan that I've shown you earlier and those plans that are available here are these are for your reference purpose. Okay. Now, if you don't look too far down the road, you just look at the coming semester, which is your first semester. Okay, I mentioned this morning, all of you most likely will have a workload limit of 23 units. 23 units is 5 courses. Each course is 4 units most of the time, right? So what will be the most common choice of courses for math major? We've given you the 3 most commonly pathways. The first one would be the 3 common core courses that are pre-allocated to you. And this is partnered with 2 MA courses. The first one is the gateway course, whether you take the non-T or the T version. I'll explain to you what is the difference. And with a second course, MA course in calculus or linear algebra. But we would advise students, if you're just doing one MA course in addition to the gateway, you should go with the calculus first. Okay, but that is an advisory only, not strictly. Okay. Second pathway is to do MA 1100, which is our gateway, plus another common core, right? That's if you, let's say, for example, want to do the writing course or the digital literacy course, right? Or the AI course. So these are all common core modules or courses that you can choose to read at the time that you think is most appropriate. The third pathway is if you're still considering, okay, maybe I want to do a second major, perhaps in computer science or in economics, okay, then you can consider doing a second gateway course in addition to our math gateway course. Okay, so these are the typical choices of the 5 courses that first semester students take in the math major. So what are some of the other common core courses I mentioned earlier? Digital literacy is one of the pillars. And for math majors, digital literacy, you should be reading CS 1010S, Programming Methodology, offered by School of Computing. Under the data literacy pillar, on the other hand, the default one that is pre-allocated to you in either SEM 1 or SEM 2 is GA 1000. However, if you intend to do a second major or a minor in statistics, then this GA 1000 can be replaced by that gateway course in statistics, which is ST 1131. Or if you intend to do a second major in data analytics, then that GA 1000 can be replaced by DSA 1101. So how this works is that while GA 1000 is pre-allocated to you, if it is, you can write in to the GA admin office for them to drop the course for you. And then you will proceed, all right, to go through the course rec process, the procedure of course rec, and try to get allocated 1131, ST 1131 or DSA 1101. and you're successful passing these means that you do not need to read GA 1000 in the future. All right, so these are alternative requirements to GA 1000 under the data literacy pillar. Okay, I mentioned about courses that are offered in one or other semesters, but not both, right? Sometimes, especially in the level 3000 and level 4000 courses, most of the courses there, please check carefully, are not offered every semester. But the lower level foundational courses that are compulsory, right? Recall there are 8 core courses that are compulsory in the math major. All of them are offered in both semesters, with the exception of MA1100T. Now, what is the difference between MA110 and MA1100T? Right? Let me explain to you in a short while. Now, to find out what are the courses that the department offers in any particular academic year, please navigate to our homepage. Instead of going to undergraduates drop down, you go to courses and timetables drop down. In particular, look for courses offered. And when you do, all right, you will be directed to a website that lists down all the courses that the department is offering in this coming academic year. Not only that, it also tells you what are some of the overview of the courses, so you can get linked to the description of the course, not just the course title, right? Because some of you may wonder, oh, okay, what is topology? What is geometry? What is combinatorial analysis? So you want to find out more, so you can get an overview of the course, a short description of what the course is about, as well as who is teaching them. All right, if you come across or you hear good things about a particular lecturer, and that lecturer is teaching a particular course this semester, then you say, oh, okay, I would like to take his course or her course. So you can find out who is teaching what in the current academic year. Okay, so the link is provided here in the on my slide. You can also find this information. All right, not all information. For example, you will not be able to find who is teaching what at NUS Mods. So NUS Mods is the university repository with all the information about our courses, not just math, but all courses across the university. You can go to NUS Mods, or you can go to visit the learning platform, which is the Canvas. Right, this is our official NUS learning platform, Canvas, to find out information about the courses, like the description, how many units of credits, what are the exam timetables, what are the lecture timetables, and so on and so forth. Okay, here comes the explanation a little bit about the difference between MA1100 and 1100T. Both are offered as the Math Gateway course. Okay, so on the left, you have MA1100 is offered in both semesters, whereas 1100T is offered only in semester 1. So the topics there, as you can see on the left, are basically introductory topics that give students a pretty good idea of what doing math in NUS is about. Okay, so you will experience a difference between the kind of math done in high school compared to what we have here in university. But more importantly, contrasting to 1100, 1100T has an additional topic of axiomatic set theory, which some of you may have heard before or have seen before. But even if you have not, that's fine too, right? No prior knowledge is assumed, but it's just that there will be an additional topics that will be added into MM1100T on top of what is already there in 1100. The course materials are slightly different. The lecture timetables are definitely not the same. Okay, in fact, these two courses have the same lecture time slot, meaning there's no way a student can be registered in both 1100 and 1100T. All right, they happen at the same time concurrently, of course, held at different places, taught by different lecturers. If you are registered for one, you can't register for the other. In terms of the other tutorials, problem sets, assessment, and so on and so forth, these are what the lecturers for this coming semesters have provided. This is how they intend to conduct their courses. It may change from semester to semester depending on who teaches them. But as you can see, there is a fundamental difference in terms of not just topics, but the way the course is being conducted. All right. So that, I think, is enough to say that for 1100T, it is definitely more in depth and emphasizes a bit more rigor, all right, and depth to really stretch students who wants to be challenged. Okay, so the level of difficulty, now depending on the kind of students you are, okay, there are no bad students here. All of you are good students. Some of you may think, oh, I'm just average in math, but that's fine. Okay, to a typical average student, you will find MA 1100 difficult. Why would they say difficult? It's not exactly difficult, but you will find it different at the beginning because it is definitely distinct from how math was taught in your junior colleges or your high schools. If you want to be even more adventurous, you go for 1100T, you will find it super difficult. Okay, but for good students, I think 1100T is going to present itself as pretty challenging. And for some of you here who are self-proclaimed whiz kids in math, then I'm sure you will find 1100 not too challenging. You should go for the tougher one, and I'm quite sure you'll find it fun. Okay, now, if you go to NUS Mods and you search for the course 1100T, you will be able to see some of our past students' comments on this 1100T. But that will give you a pretty good idea of what you will be in for if you choose to take this more challenging option. Okay. Now, you must do your declaration, remember, okay? If you are intending to major in math, please declare by 17th July. Okay, and then the pre-allocation of the major gateway course will be given to you. Everybody will be given 1100 as a default, but if you are keen to read 1100T, please drop 1100 yourself and reselect 1100T during round 1 of the course rec exercise. All right. Now, 1100T opens up the pathway into what we call the special program in mathematics. Now, what is the special program in mathematics and what does it entail? To be considered and to be admitted into the special program in mathematics, there are 2 routes. Okay? The first route is take your 1100T in semester 1. Do very well in it. Noting that it is challenging, but fun can be fun to many people, but do well in it. Apply to be admitted into SPM, all right, special program math. And if you are accepted, you will start your SPM program in semester 2 of the very first year. If you choose not to do the T version of the gateway, that's fine too. But if you do well, all right, exceptionally well, in the first 3 foundational courses, which is gateway, linear algebra, which is 201, and calculus, which is 202, you can still apply to start your SPM journey in semester 1 of your year 2. So there are 2 intakes, okay? The year 1 SEM 2 intake as well as the year 2 SEM 1 intake. And to complete the special program requirements, these are the requirements. And you will notice that all the courses here, the first 4, 2101, 2108, 2202, and 3211 comes with a suffix of S. This is to distinguish this particular version of the course with the regular version that has the same course code, but without the S suffix. Okay, the S versions are primarily for students in the SPM program. They are definitely more challenging than the regular versions. Okay, but it doesn't mean that if you're not in the SPM program, you cannot take the S version. If you want, just say, oh, I like linear algebra, just linear algebra. Therefore, in the second course in linear algebra 2101, I want to take the S version, you can do that as well. Okay, so other than the 4 level 2 and level 3, you have to do 4 more level 4 and level 5 courses. Now, all these 8 requirements, course requirements, will all count towards your major requirement. So you're actually not doing anything extra, right? You just need to be more specific and selective as to what you need to read in order to qualify and complete the requirement for the SPM program. Now, some of you may be considering doing second major. All right, so you can actually pair a primary major in math with a second major from another program, like I mentioned just now, econs, psychology, or maybe even physics. You can do that. Or you could be considering a primary major in another program and doing a second major in math with us. So that's fine too. So math offers second majors as well. 10 courses. Remember, a primary major is 15, a second major is 10, and a minor is 5 courses. You do not need to decide now. You can declare second majors up to, must be before the 5th semester of your academic journey. Okay, now if you declare a second major now or in the second semester or thereafter, and if you get a hang of it, you can actually upgrade to a double degree eventually, which means 2 primary majors per se. All right, and you graduate with 2 degrees. I think in the morning we talked about this briefly, but of course, to get 2 degrees, the requirements will be heavier as compared to single degree but double majors. All right, if you are doing a second major, but later on you realize that, okay, I'm not going to finish all the 10 courses, I will just settle for a minor, just 5 courses. You can do a downgrade to from a second major to a minor as well. But plan carefully and make sure you graduate on time. Okay, some very quick advice on course selection. Make sure you check the courses, prerequisites, preclusions. There is a natural progression to a lot of the courses there. Priorities, give them to essential courses. Take note which are those that are offered once a year only. Take note of courses with the same exam time slot. You can't take them because they will clash. All right, and don't overload yourself. Okay, don't choose a course based on its title just because the title sounds fun and sounds like something you think you know what it is, and then you choose it. Do a bit more research and do a bit more understanding on what the course actually is first. And definitely do not choose a course just because someone tells you it's easy. All right, it's always good to talk to people, but form your own opinions. All right, talk to your academic advisors if you're not sure. Okay, and of course, think of what adds value to your long-term plan, what your career aspirations are, which particular courses are important. Prerequisites or preclusions are what guides as to whether you can or cannot take courses at what point of time. Okay, so some courses actually preclude each other, and this is one example. In this example, let's say to take MA 2311, there are certain prerequisites that are listed there. It means that you must have passed at least one of those prerequisite courses before you can take MA 2311. For those courses that are listed as preclusions, it means that if you have read and passed those courses there in the preclusion list, then you will not be allowed to take MA 2311. Okay, so this is how prerequisites and preclusions work. Okay, very quickly, study tips. Now be ready for a big conceptual jump at the beginning. The journey to become a mathematics major is a little bit of a culture shock at the beginning. All right, because it's not just going to be the same mindset as how you have been doing math all along. You must be prepared to work hard, step out of that comfort zone and experience the unexperienced before. Don't just think that, oh, math is just like what I've been doing up to A-levels. Just apply formula. I do similar problems, do it 10,000 times, and the next time I see it, I'll be able to do it with my eyes closed. It's not going to be like that. Okay? You will be approaching solving problems in a rigorous manner, not just blindly applying formula. You will be accustomed to logically arguing or establishing a mathematical statement. So mathematical logic is important. How to understand concepts from the first principles, and you will constantly be reminded to ask yourself questions and reflect on what you have learned, why is it important, and how certain principles work in math. Okay, now if you need to talk to someone, you can either write to us or you can approach any one of our undergraduate advisors whose contact information is given here. If you are talking about level 1000, which most of you are, you should write to Professor Chin Chi Wai, who will be able to advise you not just on level 1000 courses, but on SPM program as well. Okay, so I guess I've just taken up exactly up to 2 o'clock now. Thank you very much. And here is wishing all of you a very good semester ahead. If you still have problems, please write to us and we will try to clarify those queries as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Prof, there's 2 questions in the Q&A.
Sure.
Can you see the question?
No, I can't.
Okay, if I want to take MA 1100T and later on found it too difficult and want to drop, would I be able to swap to MA 1100 in the mid of the same semester?
Yes, so not sure if you have attended my briefing this morning. Dropping a course comes with certain considerations when it's regarding the timeline. Okay, so make sure you make up the decision early so that you can drop a course without penalty. At the same time, all right, at the same time, in order to replace the 1100T with the regular 1100, it can be done because the approach and the content of the two courses do not differ very much. However, the pace, right, will be different. So if you are under the 1100T, you'll probably be going a bit faster, all right? But to switch over to 1100 at the early stage, which is week 1, week 2, I think it should not present too much of a problem. But drop 1100T early and request to be given 1100 early so that there will be no delay in your progress towards your major requirements. Okay, so I hope that answers your question.
Okay, second question. Hello, Prof. Is there a sample study plan for the DDP with CS?
Okay, a DDP in CS, if you are not admitted up front, all right, there is not something that you should worry about right now, because if you're not admitted up front, you can still be admitted midstream, perhaps in your second earliest or even third semester in the university. So you should go about completing as much as possible the degree requirements for both mathematics as well as computer science within the first 3 or maybe up to the 4th semester. And then at the end of your 3rd or 4th semester, there will be an application window that will be open, and that is when you make your application. The sample study plan for the math with CS double degree, I'm not sure if we actually provide that in our website. We do provide an overview of what this double degree program is, what are the requirements on both sets of degrees, but I think we don't have a sample study plan. You can check it out. Remember our department website, right? One of the drop-down boxes under undergraduate programs is a double degree program. If you go and take a look, you can see if we actually put up a sample study plan there. But if you're not admitted up front right now, you don't need to worry too much about it. Okay, go about doing your primary degree requirement, do your computer science courses, and then after 3 or 4 semesters, if you have been doing well in both sets of requirements, you apply to be admitted into the double degree program midstream. Okay?
Third question, what are the MA module closest to the theory of computation, or do I have to take CS module?
Theory of computation would probably be at an advanced level, probably some logic courses at level 3000, level 4000. So foundation ones, we do not require them as long as you have a foundation in discrete mathematics, which we will cover in the gateway course. Okay, it will prepare you enough to take on a logic course at a senior level. If you want to look at the computing side of things, of course, you would have to look at what are the courses offered under the CS program requirements and see what kind of theory of computing or logic courses they have over there.
Okay, next question. Can I take MA 2002 and a course from my second major instead of MA 1100 in SEM 1?
If you want, if I'm understanding correctly, you want to take MA 2002, which is calculus, before taking the gateway course, and you are not majoring in mathematics. You are talking about doing a second major in mathematics. Well, the natural progression would be to do the gateway course first. Why? Because the gateway course covers certain principles or foundational kind of math thinking. All right. So how do you, for example, give a logical reasoning argument on a math statement? Write a proof, for example. Okay. So if you were to do a calculus course, although I don't think it is forbidden, you may not be as well prepared. So we would still advise you to try to do that gateway course first before you do a calculus. Because if you're not majoring in math, even if you want to do a second major in math, the gateway course is still compulsory. So why not do that first before you embark on calculus? Calculus is offered in 2 semesters. So if you don't do it now, you can do it in semester 2. Right? But I would advise you to do the gateway course first.
Okay, last question. Can I ask to be waived or prerequisite? If yes, how?
On what basis? So it all depends on what basis, right? I mean, if for certain specific backgrounds, if you come with certain specific background that warrants a consideration of waiver, then yes, you can write to us and tell us what those considerations are. Okay, so you can write to the academic advisors, or you can directly ask, write to the department. I think in the slide that I shown to you earlier, or you can write to Professor Chin Chi Wai.
Prof. Ng, there are some more questions in the chat group, so let me read out to you. Is it possible to take modules as elective only after completing 2 to 3 modules, then deciding to complete the minor when we know we can finish the last few modules?
Yes, certainly. So any course that you have taken and passed that does not eventually count towards any set of requirements, whether is it a second major or minor, is just going to be counted as unrestricted electives. So you certainly do not need to commit to having, oh, I want to take this second major, I want to take that minor, and so on. All right. You can still take any of the courses, and if you eventually not use them as a major or minor requirement, they will just be UE. All right. The only advantage you have of declaring a second major or minor is, remember when I discussed this morning in my talk, when you go into course registration, if you are trying to get a course with the status of a second major in that particular discipline, you have advantage or priority over someone else who is reading that as an unrestricted elective, everything else being equal. Okay, so that is the advantage of, if it comes down to just one slot left, who gets the priority to get that course? If there is no quota issues, then both you and the competitor will still get that course anyway. Okay, hope that answers your question.
Okay, next question. Good afternoon. I would like to ask if I'm able to take mathematics finance course as part of a math major, or would I require quantitative finance second major or minor? Thank you.
We do not have mathematics finance. All right, so the department offers 2 primary majors. One is mathematics, the other one is quantitative finance. We also have second majors in these 2 as well. So you can, all right, do a second major. For example, if you want to do a primary major in QF, that's fine. Or you want to do a second major in QF, that's fine too. But we do not have mathematical finance.
Okay, next, hello, can American high school diploma student be exempted from MA 1301 based on AP scores and transcripts?
Okay, whether you are exempted, okay, so if you are coming in from a non what we call quote unquote traditional pathway, if you have admissions based on other types of entry requirements, all right, that you probably have already been informed whether your entry requirements would have given you what we call H2 equivalent status. If you do not have H2 equivalent status in the subject of mathematics, that means you would then have to take MA 1301 as a bridging course to bridge what you do not have before you can major in mathematics. So based on your entry requirements, based on what you have as your qualifications, your mathematics qualifications would have been given an equivalent status. You have to see whether you have H2 equivalent already. Okay, so this one you may need to check with the Office of Admissions.
Next, hello, may I ask if I'm still need to declare that I'm doing a math major if I'm already pursuing DDP in CS and math?
If you have already been admitted into the direct admission CS math DDP, all right, there is no need for you to redeclare. However, I will still advise you to log into CourseRec, as I've shared earlier this morning, all right, just to familiarize yourself and to see if this study plan and this status has already been added in for you as a DDP student. If it has been, then you do not need to do anything further if you do not wish to drop out from the DDP program. But it is still good to log in to check that the status is correctly reflected.
Okay, next, who can I email to ask about advice on making my ACAD plan declaration?
Well, if it is general academic advice, so if you're not sure, should I do math or should I do statistics or should I do math or should I do quantitative finance? Yes, you can write to the emails that I have shown earlier. Let me just show them again in case you still want to see it. Right, I hope you can see it now if you're still online. So these are you can write to Ask Math UG or you can write to Prof. Chin, right? Prof. Chin GY should be able to give you advice on academic plan declarations. I'm talking specifically about academic queries, not technical ones. Remember, if it is technical about how to declare, which system to use, what to click, this and that, then you need to write to the appropriate authorities, not to Prof. Chin. Right? If it's for academic advice, then please write to Prof. Chin.
Okay, that's all. No more question.
All
Thank you,
right.
Prof. Ng.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.